All right, we got enough time for one more video, so I wanted to watch this video of Chuck Grassley at this town hall. As you know, some of these Republicans are still trying to do town halls, and some of them actually are actually trying to answer the constituents. So that's good. I'd love to see them actually do something. But they are actually still holding these town halls, which is good because that's their fucking job. And here's the thing, whether right wing or left wing, people are getting shit on at town halls right now. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican. If you're doing a town hall right now, you're going to be encountering people that are pissed off, and you should be. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. Every single person should be hearing from constituents how pissed off they are, because no one in our government right now that's doing these town halls, other than let's say like a Tim Walz or a Jasmine Crockett or AOC and Bernie, other than those guys, there's very few people that are actually doing the goddamn job right now. So it's good to see. I wanted to watch. This is a veteran grills Chuck Grassley about President Trump. Some of the things he's doing are illegal. And look, this is Forbes. I see plenty of pro-Trump shit on here. I see plenty of anti-Trump stuff on here. So it seems to me, I know somebody out there, probably a Republican right now, is going to be like, no, that's fucking George Soros, this or that. I see lots of pro-Trump shit on this channel. So let's watch this video. Let's see what this veteran has to say about Donald Trump and Chuck Grassley, because we all know how veterans have fared in this administration. So let's listen to this.
Sorry. Senator, you got time for one more quick question.
Can't hear anything. What's going on here? Chuck Grassley's so goddamn old.
Before I ask my question, just understand the importance, or at least my view of the importance
It's very low.
of asking
Can you guys hear that?
Because I've asked your office this question, and I've gotten a response, but I didn't actually...
It's very low. It's very low. Let me see if I can turn that up. Let's see if I can turn that up. Can you guys hear that at all? We'll let it play a little bit more. You guys tell me if you guys can hear it. It's kind of low. I can barely hear it. Let's try this. Oh, here, I can turn this up. There we go.
actually get an answer.
Damn it.
I went to your last town hall, but I only showed up an hour early, and the venue didn't have enough people. I drove 2.5 hours to get there and didn't get in. And I also understand I took a day of leave that day because you don't have town halls during times when people are at home. You have them when we're at work, during the work week. And I had to take leave today in order to get the answer, or at least pose the question to you. So that to me is my criticism of your venues that you choose, because you choose small venues like this. And I do think...
You know he does that on purpose. You know he does that on purpose. Like, I mean, look at what's been happening with Bernie and AOC. And mind you, those are rallies. They're not town halls. But, I mean, they're getting like 30,000 people, and there's like people stuck outside. Like, people right now want their voices heard. And I guarantee you, guys like Chuck Grassley and the rest of these people are intentionally keeping these town halls to as small as they possibly can without receiving criticism, because they don't want that many people there booing and yelling at them.
Thank you for actually having a town hall. Don't misunderstand them.
Oh, it's only
but I
out
do
of the left.
criticize your venues and your choice of time. Because to me, you have them during the day when either A, you get people that are unemployed, or B, people that are retired. People with day jobs, maybe people that work the night shift. But my question is in reference to this, sir, is understand I'm a U.S. Army retired officer. And I retired in 2017. And I started working at the VA. And this year, after the inauguration, thus far, I've seen our president. He's put forth executive orders. The first one being, I telework. Nope. And without reason or cause, he abolished all teleworking. That adds...
But dude, doesn't that say what Donald Trump and Elon Musk and the rest of these people think about you? That's the crazy thing about telework, and everybody kind of falls for this, right? There's certain things, like I like to bait people in the conversations about Common Core, because I actually think Common Core is a good thing. And so I always open up by getting people to talk about Common Core, because I know they're going to say something bad, and then I can push back on it because I have very good arguments for it. But like, I understand why people think telework is bad. But if you have competent administrators, if you have competent managers and leadership, if the job can be done from home, generally, if you have good administrators and good managers, it can work. But we just have this idea that anytime somebody isn't being observed, they're lazy, right? Like, you can leave me by myself. I prefer to be by myself, and I'll get a shit ton of work done. I'll always get everything done because that's how I am. I'm very motivated in that way. I mean, I have bosses, but they're generally either not there or they ask me to do some things, but not a lot, right? And that's because that's who I am as a person. So I'm a very self-motivated person. I want to get things done. I want to be successful. I want to feel accomplished. And it doesn't matter what level of job it is. That doesn't matter if I'm working at McDonald's or I'm the store manager. Like, I want to always get things done. And we have this really shitty thing in our society where we always think that other people are out to get us, or we always think that people are out to take something that we could have had. So, yeah, are there people that are doing telework that are lazy people? Of course there are. But do you think that those people go to work and they're any more productive? Do you think that a lazy person that wouldn't work in telework would then go to work and be a productive person? No. Lazy people are lazy at work, and they are lazy on telework. Motivated people are motivated at work, and they are motivated during telework. So, I mean, that's just I know he's probably talking about something else here. I don't think he's going to talk about telework as the reasoning for why he's asking this question. But I just wanted to stop the video because that is like a misconception that doesn't really have like political affiliation. It's just something like human beings kind of always venture towards the worst case scenario and believe that like whatever is possibly going on, that other person must be screwing them over, right? And I think that that's a really bad part of our mentality. Silent Siren says it also depends on the company and how much they appreciate their employees enough so the employee takes ownership in the success of the company. Yep, 100%. Yeah, exactly. So if your employees are lazy telework people, you might want to see why.
Either a half an hour or an hour, because I work in Iowa City at the VA hospital.
Yeah, exactly.
That hour adds an hour to my day going, because driving there takes a half an hour because I live a half an hour away, and then another half an hour to take a bus
you
to
are
get to the
so
hospital.
right.
Because if you've ever been to Iowa
It's
City,
coming out left. Yeah, you're
I
right.
went to the University of Iowa and graduated. It takes a half an hour to get from your parking place to the location where you're either working or if you're taking classes. And that would add 2 hours every day for me. I would work 4 days every week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at home, and I would work in the hospital Friday. So now, because no reason that I know of other than
and that's the other thing. There's no reason.
Iowa senator who pushed the narrative that the people that work for the government are lazy and are sucking the tax dollars from the American people, and it pisses me off.
Yeah, and they did that on purpose. That's what I keep saying, is that they convinced MAGA that there's fraud, waste, and corruption. And we all know that there's fraud, waste, and corruption in our government. We all agree on that, right? But some of us are smart enough to understand that fraud, waste, and corruption isn't the clerk, that isn't the VA guy, it isn't the administrative assistant. It's not these like people that work within the government. The fraud, waste, and corruption are the fucking politicians. That's who it is. And I even, for the most part, thought that even MAGA understood that. Most of them used to send me DMs all the time. Oh, so you're okay with this politician doing insider trading? Oh, you're okay with this politician taking money from these companies? And I would answer each of those DMs with, no, I'm not. I'm not okay with people doing insider trading and making themselves wealthy. I'm not okay with people taking money and then doing the will of these big corporations. We agree on that. I'd even say to friends and family members that would DM me about this kind of stuff, I would say we agree. We just disagree on what the outcome of it is. That I believe that these people are just greedy capitalistic people, and you believe that there's some kind of deep state, case where they're trying to depopulate the earth through homosexuality. Like, I'm like, the place we differ is when you go down a path that is not reality driven, and I stay on the path. But now they've differed even further from that, and now they're not claiming it's the senators or the Congress people. Now they're claiming, unless it's a Democrat, of course, now they're claiming it's your aunt that works for the DMV, or your uncle that's a veteran that works for the VA, or your brother or your sister that have worked their way through college to get into government to obtain fucking benefits because healthcare sucks in America. Now these people have been convinced that instead of getting rid of actual corruption in our government, like overturning Citizens United, getting rid of dark money, not capping the amount of money that people are allowed to donate so you don't have billionaires just putting fucking tons of money into these people's pockets. Instead of doing that, they think they're taking the win as being, we got rid of all these people that needed that job and we have forced them onto unemployment. And they've gone even one step further. They've gone to, they can work in the factories. They can work in the fields. You know what that is? That's misery loves company. That's people saying, this person doesn't deserve that job without ever knowing who these people are. You don't know whether or not, they don't know whether or not these people were good at their jobs. You're just happy to see them miserable like you are. You're just happy that now this person that probably has $150,000 in college debt, has worked their whole fucking life, finally got benefits, maybe started a family, wanted to buy a house, doesn't get to do it because you didn't. Because you didn't. That's the type of W that MAGA has taken. MAGA recognizes that their corrupt politicians will never self-analyze, never self-police. And so instead of saying to them, instead of criticizing them and being like, hold on, these aren't the people we wanted you to get rid of. We wanted you to get rid of the people that are taking money from big corporations like BlackRock. The company, the huge, gigantic company that Donald Trump is invested in. In fact, he's invested in all three of the biggest ones: Vanguard, Terminus, and BlackRock. I believe it's Terminus. No, they, all of a sudden they don't care that Donald Trump is a part. He's invested in BlackRock. They don't care about that. Now they're really happy that fucking Ron in accounting got fired. That's the guy that's the fraud, waste, and abuse? Like, it's crazy.
As a veteran and as an employee of the VA at the hospital there. But after that, we got an email from OPM, the Office of Professional Management, or whatever it calls. We got an email very similar to the email that Musk sent Twitter, the fork in the road. And it said, you can resign now and get paid till September. Or you can just keep working, but we can't guarantee your job here. And that went out to every single federal employee in the executive branch. I know it went out to some of the judicial branch people, but it didn't apply because they don't fall underneath it.
By the way, those people that they fired were reinstated, paid back pay, paid retroactively. So really, they weren't fired. They were sent on vacation. When they tried to get their jobs back, because the judicial system said that you can't fire somebody for cause without cause. I mean, I know that MAGA are not very smart people. But you can't fire somebody for cause without cause. When they came back to get their jobs, and they are already going to be paid retroactively, Doge sent them home. They showed up, they said, I'm here to get my laptop, I'm here to work, and they said, nope, go home. Now, when they go home, they get paid. So at no point was this about saving money. That's why Elon Musk has now exited the scene. He's stolen the information that he wanted to steal. He's disrupted the government in the way that he wanted to. He stopped the lawsuits against him that all of these different departments had against him by firing the people, so there was no quorum, no ability to have quorum. He's already gotten rid of all that. It was never about saving money. And if you're one of these dipshits that thinks that you're going to get a $5,000 check, you're going to get a check. It's a reality check. And that is, he don't give a shit about you. You're not going to get $5,000. Not to mention, $5,000 is a pretty measly sum of money to sell out other Americans. That's insane. You're going to get $1,200 when we go into a recession, when the economy goes into the toilet, because that's how they stimuli the economy. You would have got that $1,200 anyways, because, once again, when economies go into stagflation or recession, you get stimulus. That's how they remedy the situation. But let me explain to you what stimulus is. Stimulus is $1,200 of your money from future you. It's not you just get money. It's money you would have had. You're just going to pay it back in taxes over the next 10 years. You're going to pay it back in inflation. You're going to pay it back through tariffs. Doge didn't save America any money. All they did was fire regular ass people. And yet MAGA's celebrating it. That's how fucking desperate for a win these people are. That's super sad. Oh, fan, thank you for the $5. Remember Bonhoeffer. MAGA will never change. You can't fight willful ignorance. It's an egoic delusion that only ends in death. I actually read Bonhoeffer. Thank you, fan. Thank you for that $5. You want to know something really funny about the reason I read Bonhoeffer? How crazy is this? Yeah, Nana, it costed us money. Exactly. How crazy is this? My father-in-law, who is MAGA to the fucking T now, wasn't when Trump first got elected. Now he's been triggered so goddamn hard. He's MAGA to the T's now, okay? He's the one who got me to read Bonhoeffer. And to this day, I cannot remember why he would ever give me that book. Like, Bonhoeffer in no way agrees with even his ideology before he became a Trump supporter. I'm like, I read the book because he was like, make your husband read this book. I think like Glenn Beck or somebody wanted to advise people to read the book. I'm like, you guys never read this book, did you? Like, you don't know what this man's story is, do you? And I think at the time, actually, okay, hold on. Thinking back, it was probably during Obama's administration, and they called Obama Hitler. I bet you money the reason that he had me read that book was because he was saying, you need to be prepared for what Obama's going to do. Because they all believed Obama was going to stay in office past his second term. All the stuff that Trump has accused Obama of doing, or was going to do, that now he's doing. Because every accusation is a confession. But it was insane to me. I guess I kind of just figured that out. That it was during the Obama administration. So he was probably implying that Obama was Hitler. That's so crazy. Maitesh, 5 memberships. Thank you, Maitesh. We go stronger. I need to get a sound bite for that. We grow stronger. I'm going to work on that. I need a soundboard, guys.
And how many staffers do you have here? I'm sure they didn't get it because they're not in the executive branch. But all of us, GS and wage grade employees that work in the federal government, we got that. So I could have resigned. I didn't see a lot of intelligence being put into that because basically we did have people resign because some of them were probationary employees. And the probationary employees, if you remember, were the first ones to get fired for cause. But it was done illegally. And they got fired. One of my fellow workers, she resigned so she could get paid till September, which doesn't make sense to me. How are you being efficient, when you're letting all these people go home and they don't work? They stay on the books, so we can't hire anybody to replace them.
Jesus
and there's
Christ.
a hiring freeze, so we can't hire anybody for 90 days after that. But also after that, they did fire the probationary employees, which I found to be very troubling because, as my understanding, it's illegal because they fired them for cause. The AFG,
Yeah, you can't fire them for cause if you don't have
American
cause.
Federation of Government Employees, the union for the employees at the hospital here at the VA in Iowa City, they took them to court and they won. But shortly after that win, they had to hire those people back, is my understanding, because even at the hospital here, they got fired. They got let go, which decreased the staffing there. And as a veteran,
It's fucking
it pissed
insane.
me off. But after that, the president put out an executive order nullifying the collective bargaining agreement, basically the contract that the federal workers have protecting them from being summarily fired for no reason whatsoever, which I find, to me, I'm like, you just dissolved my protections as a federal employee, and you're dissolving it for all the people that are working at the VA hospital there. I'm a veteran. I go there for...
Did he do that? I didn't know he did that. Can somebody confirm that for me? I mean, I guess I'll confirm it after the stream. Did he get rid of the collective bargaining agreement? Maybe I did hear that. God, there's been so much stuff to keep up with. And I know that that's part of the plan. That's the flood the zone shit. But god damn, I think I remember that. I should check into that and make sure. But like, how can you back that up? How can you support that, man? Like, it's fucking 1984, dude. The people that say that they support veterans are taking away the protections of the veterans because now they're saying they're actually lazy and don't work. It's 1984, man. It's doublespeak. It's so fucking crazy.
medical service. I find it highly suspect, and I believe it's illegal. But I haven't heard anything from any of my senators, my 2 senators, and any of the House reps, the 4 that are here in Iowa, the one that works for me, because I've asked all their offices, both you, Ernst, and Miller Meeks.
They'll just claim this
and
guy's
heard nothing from them.
a
See,
paid
I
actor,
understand
right?
impeachment, but impeachment not just of the president and power of the purse is one of the other things that Congress can do.
That is, yeah. I mean, this guy's actually saying a lot of stuff that's very educational because he does the job, and apparently he understands it really well. But one of the things that people don't point out enough is that Congress is supposed to play tug of war with the executive branch for power. The way they do so is through the purse strings. And obviously this Congress has rolled over and allowed Donald Trump to do whatever he wants with the purse strings. Taxes are supposed to come from Congress. Tariffs are a tax. The only way that Donald Trump can use tariffs or create taxes like that is by claiming that there's an emergency action. That's why he claims that he should be able to use the Alien Enemies Act. That's why he has to use it, right? Because it all works in concert. If he claims that we're having this immigration crisis where he has to get rid of these terrorists within our country, then he can also say that he has the right to establish tariffs. That it all works together. All the dipshittery that he does, it all works together. And Congress needs to be held accountable. Once again, like I said, if you're a conservative and you're claiming that you don't agree with all this stuff, then you should be like this veteran right here, and you should be going to your representatives' town halls and saying, what are you doing? Are you capitulating? Are you saying to me that the Constitution doesn't mean anything? That you don't give a shit about the judicial, legislative, and executive powers and how they work? Because if you do, then I'm going to vote you out. Hopefully what we see from this is a whole bunch of new blood. A whole bunch of new people with more connection to what is actually going on in American society. Hopefully we see some seats being flipped and people that are actually in touch with the legitimate concerns of American citizens that get into office and that can hold people like Donald Trump accountable. That's the hope. That's the silver lining.
But you don't have to impeach the president. You can impeach others. You can impeach any of the people within the cabinet, is my understanding. Maybe I haven't read the Constitution as much as you have, and maybe I don't understand it because I don't speak the old stuff. But when you have a president who puts an executive order and somebody removes my working privileges as a labor union employee, and he does it under the auspice of national security, because when you read the executive order, it says national security. And I mean, I'm just a retired major from the U.S. Army with a master's in Homeland Security. I don't think my job as a clerk and business officer at the VA constitutes something that needs to not have protections as a labor person because of national security. I used to work in a vault, but maybe I don't understand it. I'm not the president. But my question
you don't understand it
to you is, what do you think is, because I see it as illegal, and I see my representatives, the people that are paid to represent all of these people, because Iowa, as a senator, the majority of people here are not registered Democrats. The majority is not registered Republicans. The majority is not registered anything else. They're Iowans, and your job is to represent all of them.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point. That's something I think even I kind of forget or don't think about actively, is that when a person is elected, they're not elected just to represent the people that voted for them, right? Like, this is something that's been completely lost because of Donald Trump. Donald Trump changed this whole political atmosphere and made it a zero-sum game. You're supposed to, as a senator, as a congressperson, as a mayor, as a governor, you're supposed to represent all people in your district or in your state or in your county. You're supposed to recognize and be magnanimous, be benevolent, and say, I know that you don't agree with me politically, but I'm not going to feed you the worst part of the cow. You're not going to get the cut of meat that is E. coli. You're not going to get the best cut of meat because we differ politically and in our values. But you're going to get to eat. And you can feel safe eating what I feed you, because I represent you regardless of your political party. That's actually a really good point on his part, is that it doesn't, because I was just thinking about that, right? Like, that people will say this guy's like a paid actor, which would be stupid. The dude seems very, his story seems like it's pretty real, right? But I was just thinking, like, people are going to say, oh, he's a paid actor. He's a paid actor. If that room was filled with Democrats, but they're all from Iowa, and that's legit, right? Like, there's Democrats in Iowa. It's not just Republicans. And if they showed up to his town hall, then they have just as much right to ask these questions as any Republican does. You can't say, oh, well, yeah, the town hall was filled with Democrats. Were they Democrats from Iowa? Were they Democrats from his district? Were they Democrats from his district or his county? Because if they were, they have a voice, and he should have to listen to them. Just like the same thing goes on the other side. If Republicans, regardless of whether or not I agree with them when it comes to the LGBT stuff, they're like, I think there's books in the libraries at my kids' school that are inappropriate for them to see. They should be heard. And you should even investigate whether or not it actually means anything. Because constituents, voters, people are represented by their representatives even when they don't vote for them. That is representation. And like I said, that's been completely lost since Donald Trump became president of the United States the first time, because he changed that game to a zero-sum game, whereas, haha, we won, now you guys get to just go cry in a corner. I hope you go homeless. I hope you get all the bad things that happen to you. The only difference is that when left-wing people win, they ask for social safety net. So when you're homeless, they'll take care of you. The only difference is that when left-wing people win, they ask for things like UBI or your college debt to be forgiven. And that doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. You get the benefit of all those things. It's kind of crazy.
And I'm getting sick and tired. And I'm getting sick and tired.
Oh, what did you say?
Anything else? They're Iowans, and your job is to represent all of them. And I'm getting sick and tired. Because, like I said, to me, I'm like, I hear calm zero, as they say in the military, or nothing from any of them. They're willing to let him do it, whatever he wants, as POTUS.
And they said that.
But some of the things he's doing are illegal.
Yes.
They're illegal. In the past, I try to make myself understanding of what's going on, and I engage with the politicians that are elected to represent me. I don't want the job, but I do engage with them because, to me, they need to be held accountable.
That's doing the right thing.
And right now, I don't see them being held accountable because they seem to represent the party more and the president. And the way our system of government, as the Constitution says, there's 3 branches of government: judicial, legislative, and executive branch. And your job is not to make sure he gets everything in his agenda done, whether or not he's a Republican or he's a Democrat. Your job is to represent every Iowan in here. If they're not Iowans, I don't know about that.
Do your job.
And I say that, my question was basically, what are you going to do about it? Because I find it to be illegal, an illegal executive order. And I've heard people say, well, that's for the courts to decide. The problem being, though, is that he fired people. That didn't work, so he got rid of the collective bargaining agreement that protected those people that he fired.
Crazy.
So now where's my course of action? If he gets rid of the union, which is the group that took him to court. I don't have a lot of money. I can't take him to court if I lose my job because he wants to fire me for cause, even if I don't have cause. So what are you doing about it? That's my question. I know it took a long time and we're past our time here and I apologize, but I took the whole day off.
Yeah, you took the whole day off. He can do it. He can answer your question.
I'm going to answer your question, and then I want to answer this criticism you gave about how I hold these meetings.
I don't need an answer on that because I've complained about it before. I've complained about it to all my...
Oh, that's funny. Can you guys see the hat that guy's wearing in the back? Make lying wrong again. That's funny.
Representatives, and that's how they do
I thought it was a MAGA hat. They got me.
The courts are the arbiter in this, and some of them have stood against the president, and some of them...
Damn. He said, I know your answer is going to be that the courts are the arbiters of this. And he was like, yeah, so anyways, the courts. Like, no, dog. It's not just the courts. It's your job to speak for the people that voted for you. That's some coping ass cuck shit right there. What a bitch answer. The courts, some of them have been for him, some of them have been against him. No, that's not what the dude's asking. He literally just asked you, what are you going to do? You. Not the judges. You have, like he said, impeachment is one power you have. However, you also have the power of the purse. This man has been in politics for probably, 60 years or more? And you're going to tell me that he doesn't understand that question? Bullshit. He just dodged that shit like Neo in the Matrix. He was like, nope, not going to answer any of that. Well, I don't know. Maybe he answers it in a second.
I stood with the president, but in one case that you brought up about the probationary, the Supreme Court made a decision that he had the constitutional authority or the power to do that under the law or under the Constitution.
He has the power to do that, sir, but what the courts didn't address is the fact that...
Let me...
can I rebut, though?
Let me...
What they didn't address is that he fired them for cause, which is...
Exactly. The courts decided that he could fire those probationary periods or probationary people, but he fired them without cause. He claims he has cause, but holy shit, guys. I have been a manager for a very fucking long time, and I can tell you there is a whole process in which you have to go through of documenting people, whether or not it's verbal, written, and then termination, or it's verbal, written, and termination, or it's termination. No matter what, you have to be able to document what this person's cause was. You can't just say they're a bad worker. You have to have a reason. There are literal laws, but I'm sure Donald Trump has rolled them back, so no big fucking deal. Literal laws that said at one point that you can't just fire people without cause, especially as the President of the United States of America. That man he fucking ducked the question. Like
It was not untrue.
Okay. For 45 years, I've been doing my town meetings, county meetings this way. Some open town meetings like this. Last year,
We're talking about the meetings now.
33 of the counties had open town meetings. I went to about 10 high schools because kids under 18 years of age never come to a meeting like this.
They can't vote. I mean, I guess it makes sense. It makes sense for young people should get involved. I don't disagree with Chuck Grassley's old ass right here. I guess going to high schools is good to bring kids into it, but they can't vote.
For the people that work, I go to either businesses or factories, and in the factories, if they'll shut down their assembly line and let people gather around me on the floor, I have a Q&A with those employees. I go to 2 or 3 hospitals a year for the reason that hospital people can't come. And I've been doing it this way for 45 years, and over the course of going to high schools, open town meetings, yesterday there was a Farm Bureau county had me in for their members.
Okay, are we going to answer the question? Or are we just going to talk about what you did at town hall meetings? I mean, like, good job. I mean, I still have some criticisms of these small things. I think the dude's... I don't know why I'm trying to argue with the dude's first thing. He wasn't trying to... That wasn't his question. His first question... His question was whether or not it was legal for Donald Trump to do the things he has done. His criticism was that he had driven for 2.5 hours and was unable to ask a question last time. We were spending more time talking about the criticism that the gentleman tossed his way at the beginning than we are about the actual fucking question. What are we doing? Like, I mean, I know what we're doing. This is Politician 101.
And hospitals and all those things. I hope I get a cross-section of the population.
What up, Susie?
But if I don't get a cross-section of the population, when you add it to the emails I get, already in 3 months, we got more emails than all of last year.
I wonder why, Chuck. I wonder why you've gotten more emails in the last 3 months than the entire last year. No shit. More emails with a Republican president in Iowa in the last 3 months than you had in the last year with a Democratic president, with Joe Biden. You can't make this shit up, dude. Who are these people? Like, I mean, I know. I get it. He's dodging the bullets. He doesn't want anything to do with it. He's like 1.5 years away from probably finding himself a nice hole with a cool tombstone that we'll probably pay for. What does he care? Like I said, we got to stop electing people like this. The funny thing about when the Pope passed, not like there's a lot of funny things about the Pope passing. There's a lot of scary things about the Pope passing. But one of the funny things was when I was reading the different people that potentially could become the next Pope, I saw one of the guys was like 70, I think, and they said he most likely won't be elected because they don't like to vote in a Pope that young because he could have like 2 decades of being the Pope and they don't like that, right? And I was like, damn. The fucking Vatican is doing a better job than we are? The Vatican's like, you know, like, they don't want these dudes to be the Pope for more than 20 years. We've got fucking career politicians that have been in the game for 60 years on the left and the right, all over the goddamn place. Jerry Connolly's like, I deserve to be the head of the committee, not AOC. Why? Oh, because I've been here for like 50 years. That's the reason? Jesus Christ. That man did not answer that question, by the way. That man.
An example. As an example. And that's the way we do it. Now, I thank all of you.
Oh, he said, and I'm out. He said, I'm out of here. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. Okay. That's it. That's it. He said, I am leaving. Oh, my God. Yeah, Grassley just won his election. Where's my buttons? Where's my buttons, bro? What do you say to that? The dude gives you like this 12-minute long question where he lays out how he works for the VA and how upset he is. The dude's not even fired from the VA, but he's saying like, what kind of like security assurances can you give to me? Are you going to hold Donald Trump accountable for the stuff that he's done? And he's like, nah, not really. Anyways, I don't like that you criticized me, so I'm going to talk about that for the entire time. Anyways, have a nice night. I need to go get me some Metamucil. Change my diaper. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And check out that video on the screen now.